It's time for the Week 4 waiver wire. Let's get it started. Do you have questions at quarterback? Don't worry, I got you. First, check to make sure Jordan Love is not on your waiver wire. He is literally the 4th best quarterback this year. 23, 20, 25. He's doing great, and he goes against Detroit and Las Vegas. Check to see if he's out there. Andy Dalton, if he plays this week, I know that he's an old man, but he was slinging it last week. He threw 58 times for 361 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'll take that. Going up against Minnesota, they do not scare you. Fire him up, assuming he plays. This is another one where we have to assume he plays because Jimmy Garoppolo is currently in concussion protocol. But if he clears that concussion protocol, I think Jimmy GQ is going to be a fantastic start. Going up against the Chargers, it's going to be a nice back and forth affair. And Devontae Adams is going to eat. If you're looking for a long-term play, I think CJ Stroud is a good add. I don't like him this week because he's going up against Pittsburgh and their defense is fierce. But the kid can play. 2 touchdowns in back-to-back games. I think that he's going to be a solid long-term player. Are you weak at wide receiver? Don't worry, I got you. Tank Dell. I've been telling you to pick him up for a minute now. Tank Dell has been balling out. 5 receptions for 145 yards and a touchdown. Gotta get him on your roster. Same with this guy, Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen also gets the pleasure of going up against Minnesota. Who does not scare you against wide receiver? Thielen and Dalton have this old man connection going on where he just keeps locking onto him. I'm here for it. Fire up Thielen. Unfortunately, my namesake, Mike Williams, went down to an injury this weekend. Hate to see it. Let's check out the tweet. An MRI today revealed that Chargers wide receiver Mike Williams suffered a torn ACL per sources. Adam Schefter also reports Mike Williams is expected to be ready for training camp next season. Devastating injury. He was just starting to get premium volume, and then this happens. Oh, it's awful. It does sound like he'll be able to play next year, which is a good sign, but still devastating that he's going out this early. Get better soon, Mike Williams. Can't wait to see you next year. Heal up, buddy. When a wide receiver that's getting the volume that Mike Williams is getting goes down, other players are going to need to step up. Now, who you pick to step up depends on what your roster needs. If you need a player to start right now, I go with Joshua Palmer. I think he's going to get the immediate bump and be able to be started right now. I'm not saying he's going to take over the Mike Williams role completely, but I do think that he should have some immediate value coming up in this next week. Now, if you're looking from a long-term view, just somebody that's going to eventually step in, it's clearly going to be the wide receiver they drafted in the 1st round. Quentin Johnston. He hasn't done much so far this year, but with Mike Williams going down, I think that they're going to be more incentivized to get the rookie involved. So if you have a big bench and you got space for one more, Quentin Johnston's a good add. DJ Chark. He only had 4 receptions, but he had 11 targets. Clearly, Andy Dalton wanted him to get involved. I think he's a good target, especially while Andy Dalton's still there. Some other receivers I'd like to mention. Romeo Doubs, as long as Christian Watson's out. Rondale Moore's getting used in unique ways. And Marvin Mims is a deep league stash. He's not getting enough targets to be relevant every week, but I think the kid's going to be very viable if they start giving him some touches. Are you having a rough time at running back? Don't worry, I got you. The hottest pickup of the week, Devon Achane. He is a must-add in all leagues, all formats. He went absolutely nuclear. 18 rushes for 203 yards. He also had 4 receptions for 30 yards. And oh yeah, I almost forgot. 4 touchdowns. He was the best running back last week. A little word of caution. I think Devon Achane is a great add. I think that he should be added in every league. But I think that there are a couple of things where he's not going to be a must start every week. He'll be utilized, but he's going to be behind Raheem Mostert. He can always bust out a touchdown play, but I think that he's definitely going to be the number 2. Mostert didn't do anything to give up his job, but Achane definitely impressed. Now, when you have a game like this, of course you're going to get more involved in the offense, but I don't think he's going to get consistent work. He could always bust a long play though. Also, at some point, Jeff Wilson's going to be coming back, and then they're going to be splitting the pie 3 ways. So I'm not telling you not to get him. You should definitely go get him. But I don't think I'd spend all of my fab to get him. Definitely a decent chunk of it though. I've been talking about Roschon Johnson for the last couple weeks. I think that he's a solid add. This is more of a long-term play. At the moment, he's a backup, but he could be taking over this role for the Chicago Bears. And then we have a bunch of running back 2s that are worth a stash. With Alvin Kamara coming back, Kendre Miller isn't going to be the star running back, but he's definitely worth a stash. Tajay Spears, he's on the field all the time now. It hasn't shown in the fantasy football box scores, but he is involved. Elijah Mitchell, if anything ever happens to Christian McCaffrey, knock on wood, Elijah Mitchell will step up and be the dude in San Francisco. Rico Dowdle would be the guy if Tony Pollard went down. Ezekiel Elliott, 16 carries for 80 yards. Not bad. And Sean Tucker's the clear number 2 in Tampa Bay. Are you having a tough time at tight end? Don't worry, I got you. Number 1, Luke Musgrave. I've talked about him the last couple weeks. He had 8 targets last week against New Orleans, roughly 50 yards. Tight ends are normally slim pickings, but he gets to go up against Detroit this week. I think that's a solid matchup. Next up, Jake Ferguson. He's had 7 targets 2 out of the last 3 weeks. Last week, 5 receptions for 48 yards. That's pretty solid. I know that all of his touchdowns have been going to the other tight end, but if you're desperate, Gerald Everett could see some more target volume with Mike Williams going down. I think that he's a solid add. Last week he went 6 for 6 for 30 yards. He just didn't come down with those 2 touchdowns. They went to Darnold Parham. Are you desperate for defense? Honestly, so am I. This is not a good week for waiver wire defenses, but I got a gross one for you. First, let's check to see if this one's out there because people have been sleeping on them and I think they have a good matchup. The Kansas City Chiefs. They've had double-digit fantasy points in back-to-back games, and they get to go against the Jets, who are objectively not good. I think they're the favorable matchup this week if you can find them. They're not rostered in every league. And this next pickup is gross, disgusting, horrendous. That's how you know they're available. Ugh, I honestly feel gross to say this, but the team that just got gashed up, the Denver Broncos, oh God. They have been awful all year, but so have the Bears. The Bears suck. They're 0-3. Denver just got embarrassed on national television. They're getting made fun of by literally everybody. At least the Bears were projected to suck. The Denver Broncos were projected to be good. It was supposed to be a bust if they didn't make the playoffs. They're 0-3 right now. They're drowning. They kind of got to win this game, right? They should at least play hard defense. Somebody just dropped 70 on them. I'm honestly not excited about this. If you have alternatives, take it. This is the bottom of the barrel. I'm talking nobody else is out there. Denver gonna be out there with good reason. If you haven't had a chance to see any of the last week's games, check this out for the studs and duds.